And welcome, everybody. We're going to be talking today about upleveling your brand brilliance to attract more clients. Welcome. And I know that it's a really small group here today. That's awesome because we're going to be able to customize this for you. And what I'd like you to do is pull out a piece of paper and a pen because you're probably going to want to take some notes as we go. And when the replay comes back out, you're going to probably want to watch the replay and go back over stuff because there is a lot to unpack here. There's just so much information that I can't begin to cover everything about branding in an hour, so I'm not even going to try. We're going to try to give you the best of what we can give you and really give you some awesome tips that hopefully will do super well for you, for your business, for upgrading your brand this year. And so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and my presentation here. We're going to be talking about brand brilliance, upgrading your brand to attract your ideal clients. And we're going to be taking about 45 minutes, and then we'll have some questions at the end. Who am I? I am a business mentor, marketing strategist. I focus a lot on visibility and lead generation for small businesses. I have a huge passion for helping small businesses grow and stay in business. One of my things with marketing, with mentoring, with branding, with all of these things is this continual improvement, continual cost management, doing things better, faster with better automation, and leveraging the tools at our fingertips. And right now, we're in a very interesting time. Not that we aren't always in interesting times, but with the advent of AI, things are changing ever faster for our businesses in terms of copy, in terms of funnels, in terms of every single thing that we do in the marketing arena, in terms of business automations, in terms of business operations. There are a lot of things that are changing right now. And it has gone from changing quickly to changing at absolute warp speed. And the businesses that are going to do the best are the businesses that pull out their surfboards, hop on the top of that wave, and ride it like they mean it. Businesses who are slower to adapt to the technology are going to naturally struggle more as customer expectations for level of service change, right? We live in a world of instant gratification. So we want to make sure that our brand and our businesses are keeping up with these things. So let's talk about parts of a brand upgrade and making sure that you are doing these on a regular basis. Now, to me, brand is not just a logo. Brand is your message, your brand strategy, how your business is positioned in the market. And that's why I'm such a huge fan of doing a competitive analysis, of doing a SWOT analysis. SWOT analysis is a strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. It's a simple tool used by a lot of business students, a lot of MBAs, because it can be done relatively quickly or it can be done extremely in depth. And then doing a comprehensive self-assessment of your business. And this will help you understand where your business is positioned in the market. And whether you are a tiny solopreneur just starting out, trying to get your first client, or you've been in business for 10 years, it is important to understand where you are in the market and do these analyses. And it may actually talk you out of getting into business. It may change the course of your business. I can tell you that if you are doing competitive analysis, SWOT analysis, and doing these self-assessments, your business is on average going to do better. One thing I want you to know is that branding is not your logo. Your logo is not your branding. A logo is maybe 2% or 1% of your brand. It is a visual representation that when people see it, like the Facebook F, they recognize your brand, but it is not the entire brand. And it is also not a static thing. One of the things I want to caution you on is, when you choose a logo, stick with it for a while. One of the things I see a lot of businesses do is they will do a brand upgrade, and I'm waving my fingers in the air like air quotes. And what they will do is they will refresh and update their logo every 2 or 3 years. This causes customer confusion. It causes a lot of confusion in the market because just as people are starting to recognize your logo, your brand, your name, you're changing it on them. That's not what we want to do. We want to use our brand and our messaging and our strategy to clarify who we are, who we serve, where we are in the market, and what the customer experience is around our business. Not necessarily a pretty little logo or a pretty website. And in fact, you can build a crazy good business without much of a website. And I've done it. So let's do a quick competitive analysis. And this is where you pick up your pen and paper and you do your thing. Think about 3 of your top competitors and write them down. And then I want you to think about 3 businesses or 3 competitors that are operating in the space where you want to be 5 years from now. And this is something that I do a little bit differently. What are some competitors in the space? What businesses are in the space where you want to be in 5 years? And one of the things I would encourage you to do as part of this is look at what they're doing well, what they're doing not well. How are they selling their products and services? And how are they pricing things? Is it hourly? Is it a bundle? How is it being done? Both with your competitors now, because that's where you are now, but also looking at where your competitors are, where you want to go. One of the most important things to look at is, how are they marketing their businesses? How are they pricing things? If there is a big divide between where you are and where you want to go in terms of pricing models and business structure, operations differences, big, huge marketing differences, now is the time to start laying out a plan to get from point A, where you are now, to point B, where you want to go. Especially if your entire business model is going to have to change. This is one of the things I wish people would have told me years ago. Here's what baby business owners do. And here's what you do if you're building a coaching practice here. And here's the intermediate steps. And here's the steps you're going to probably have to take to get from point A to point Z. It is possible if you know what point A and point Z are to build a roadmap to get you from point A to point Z. Because you can also look at the market and see what people are doing in each of the spaces between point A and point Z. And you can decide to adapt and take what they're doing or chuck it out the window. So, Kim, you are building a personal brand because you've got some really big stuff in the works, right? So you're building your personal brand, you're building your personal reputation outside of your normal circles and outside of your normal spheres of influence. So, who are maybe three people, three competitors that are doing kind of what you want to do ultimately very well? Well, let's look at their marketing and what they're doing. And then we can figure out what's possible now with where you're at versus where you want to go. Kimberly's similar for you. Look at where you are starting your business, what kind of clients you have now, what kind of pricing you have now, and then look at who are the 800-pound gorillas in the market. Is that where you want to go? If that is the case, look at how they're pricing things. How are they sourcing things? What's the customer experience like? Spend some time cyber stalking them and looking at their marketing and their message and their website and all of the things. Really dig into what they're doing well and what they're not doing well. Pay attention to the not doing well too. Every business is going to be always, I don't care how good of a business it is, whether you're talking IBM or Dell or Amazon or Google or any of these big, huge corporations, they are always constrained for resources. Multi-billion-dollar companies are still constrained for resources. They have to decide how they are going to spend their limited resources. So they may do certain things super well because it's important to them, and they may have decided to not invest in certain dimensions because they realize that those dimensions are maybe not going to produce a return on investment. If they're not doing something well, ask yourself why. Is it incompetence or is it a deliberate business choice? Sometimes it's a bit of both. But the more you can do this analysis of what they're doing and what they're not doing, and how they're pricing and how they're functioning, the more insight it gives you into their business. And this applies no matter the industry, whether we're talking tech, whether we're talking real estate, whether we're talking anything, construction, you name it. What is important to people in that industry? What is not important? What lights up their world? And what's interesting to me is what lights up people's worlds in different industries, in different environments, can be very, very, very different. So that impacts your brand message, your brand strategy. Y'all with me? Cool. So the next tool we're going to describe today is a SWOT analysis tool. If you take this into your clients, they're going to love you. It is a phenomenal tool. And I don't think that it gets used enough because it is a quick and dirty, and it can be done quick, and it can be done dirty, and it can be done super in depth. I want you to sit down and look at your business and look at what are your strengths and list out your strengths. What are your weaknesses? What are your opportunities in the marketplace and within your business for improvement, for, getting new new things, right? Internal and external. It's important when we're looking at the SWOT analysis for our brands, believe it or not, that we look internally and externally. And how does this apply to our business, even as a solopreneur? Ditto for threats. What threats is my business facing right now? I would say as a digital marketing agency owner, AI is both a huge opportunity and a massive threat. Right? Because people think that they can chat GPT anything. I'm going to generate all of my sales copy and I'm going to use chat GPT. Doesn't work quite that way. You got to really work with chat GPT in order to get it, right? And it's not unlimited and it's not ultimately as creative as the human brain. It is literally a case of information in, information out. And in some cases, AI is a case of garbage in, garbage out. And you have to know whether it's the good stuff or the bad stuff. Right? So think about each of your three competitors now and later. Yeah, you see where I'm going with this, don't you, Kim? I think it's hilarious that I have Kim and Kimberly on the call. Do this tool for each of your competitors, where you are now and where you want to go. Spend the time, write it out. Put this on pause when you watch the replay. Write out each of your competitors. Here's their strengths, here's their weaknesses, here's their opportunities, here's their threats, for each of them that you can think of. Okay? And then take a step back, take a break from it, and look at it and see what trends you find. I'm going to guess that you're going to find trends, both where you are now in your own business and where you want to go. And this, my friends, is a gold mine for you. Do this once a year, whether you think your business needs it or not. This is an absolute gold mine. Now, look at your results. Go looking through those trails, right? What trends do you see? Do you see gaps? Do you see glaring gaps? Look at what you're doing super well compared to your competitors. What do you do differently from your competitors? What makes you unique? That's part of your brand right there. Also, what you're not doing well also makes you unique. And then start to figure out, what do you need to change in your business? If your business is here at A and you want to take it to Z, what do you need to do? And the next question is, what do you need to not do? Because action is just as important as inaction, i.e., not doing certain things. The light and the dark, right? Sometimes you have to give up certain revenue streams or give up certain opportunities in order to get to point Z. Sometimes you're going to look at where you are now and where you are revenue wise And you're going to look at where you've got to go, and you're going to realize that you're going to have to double down in certain areas, because cash flow wise, you can't just stop doing everything and then start doing everything. This is why we build a roadmap of here's where I am and here's where I'm going. There's nothing super revolutionary about this. It's evolutionary. Think of it in terms of the evolution of your business. I'm not a big fan of throwing the baby out with the bathwater. I'm not a big fan of telling people to stop working their day job in order to get everything done that they need to do to get to point Z. It is about being pragmatic and understanding the steps it's going to take to get from point A to point Z, and also what steps it's not going to take to get to point A to point Z. Right? So there's all the gurus in the world that are going to tell you to blog or to do this or to do that, today. Infinite amounts of things you can do, limited resources. How do you choose wisely? Create a strategy. You must have a strategy and a plan to get from point A to point B. And here's the thing, plans can be changed. Plans evolve, brands evolve, business evolves, technology changes, businesses change, the business environment changes. 4 years ago this week, the entire world as we knew it underwent a major change, which has materially impacted how we do business. 4 years later, are we back to normal? No, things will never be the same again. So understand that even though you create a strategy and a plan, things change, and that's okay. You are not bound by your plan to stick with it forever. It is just a for now, for the next little bit. Now, when I say that, I'm not talking the next 3 days. I'm talking the next 6 to 9 months minimum. If you build a plan and a strategy that you cannot stay the course on for the next 6 to 9 to 12 months, then we've got a problem. We need to rejigger that plan because it's not sustainable. And the other piece is assuming and making the assumption in your plan that things are suddenly going to catch and suddenly magically correct themselves is wishful thinking. And to me, that's also not a sustainable plan. It's something that's gotten me a number of times. It's like, oh, well, I can go out and I can do blah, blah, blah. Well, yes, with enough time and enough effort and enough energy and planning, I can get there. But in the short term, yes, I can do a lot, but it's maybe not quite as much as I was hoping for. So being a realist about what you can actually accomplish and what can be accomplished in a short period of time. So if 6 months is going to put you into financial straits, rethink how you're doing it. Now you have to execute. Now you actually have to do it, right? You've got a plan, got a strategy, now you've got to do it. Execute the plan. You've got a ton of things at this point that probably need upgrading and changing and doing. And this is only a part of the brand and the marketing strategy, right? A SWOT analysis and a competitive analysis and a plan is only a teeny tiny part of it. There's a lot of things that we've left out to this point, just to be clear, right? I can't cover everything you're going to need to know about branding in a 1-hour call. Just to be clear. There are so many pieces we've left out. If you do this much, you're going to be way further ahead than you started. But just to be clear, this is not all of it. This is maybe 5%, unfortunately. So I developed a program for that is a year-long deep analysis. Because here's what you need to be doing. Looking at everything, your website, your brand message, your email signature, your email nurture sequences. All of these things you need to be looking at. You also need to do an analysis in a similar fashion to what we've done of your mission, your vision, your core values. And make sure that everything is aligned with both where you are now and where you're going. Your mission, your vision, and your core values are central to your brand. And then you need to have a comprehensive plan for upgrading. And by upgrading, I'm not talking about bankrupting yourself. I'm talking about finding a sustainable option that is going to get you from point A to point B, because Rome was never built in a day. We're also going to do a cruise in September to help you get video and photos for your brand once we've got a plan. Because as Stephen Covey said, begin with the end in mind. One of the cool things we're going to be doing is getting social media pictures and doing a bunch of collateral picture taking so that you have those for website, social media, website and funnel builds and all the things. The reality is that until we know what the other things are that need upgrading and what your brand message and those things are, they're just pretty pictures. But with that upgraded brand, then you're much more likely to be able to get the collateral you actually need, and you're going to be able to use it sustainably in your business. We're also going to be doing monthly calls with a ton of information similar to what we've covered today, only much more in depth, and one-on-one sessions with me to problem shoot and fix things, because I can guarantee you nothing ever works right the first time. Or for me, nothing ever works right the first time. I will correct it and say that. Most businesses are going to see a 5 to 10x return on their investment. And I have super affordable options. So please book a call with me. And I will post a link in the chat for you guys to book a call with me. And I want to say thank you. For sitting with me today, and I will stop sharing and I will stop recording and I will let you guys ask all of your questions.